Good evening, my name is Kellie, and I'd just like to thank Rob for sponsoring me to go to RYLA because it was an amazing experience and I loved it so much. I met so many amazing people and had such great fun. So thanks, Rob.
And the club.
And the club. So the first day we got there up in the afternoon, and when we got there, no one was talking to anyone. It was completely silent. And then later on in the day, when we were separated into our groups, everyone got to know each other in the groups, and then by the end of the night, we couldn't stop talking to each other. So on the first day, we did some team building activities. So one of them team building activities we did was a blind trail, and that was fun because we had one person at the front and obviously none of us were talking to each other, so he had to shout out all the commands to a bunch of people that he'd only just met. So yeah, that was interesting.
Has he moved on?
Yeah. We also did something called the spider's web, which was a massive web, like a spider's web, made out of ropes, and it had gaps in it, and you had to put people through the holes onto the other side. It's just back.
You done it?
Right one.
Yeah.
You want to go forward a bit?
No, back. One.
Back?
Yeah.
That's okay.
That's fine. So yeah, we eventually found out with the spider's web that you have to save the bigger people for the bigger holes and lift up the smaller people into the smaller holes. So a lot of hard work there. So on the Sunday when we woke up, we were told we were going to be doing raft building. This was great because me and one of the other people in my group were sent down to learn how to tie all the knots and stuff, so we had to teach our team how to tie all the barrels and the wooden poles together to make a raft. And when we were doing this, it eventually ended up that it was too hard to teach them, so I ended up tying all of the knots for my team. And it was going really well. Our raft got put onto the water, it was floating, nothing fell off. We made it about 10 feet out and one of the barrels fell off. So our whole raft capsized, flipped over, so we all got in the water. Except me. Managed to stay on top. And then once we got back and dried off, we did some more team building exercises later that day. And we did something called stepping stones, which was we got slabs of wood and they all got put, it was about 3 meters gap between where we started and where we had to get, and you had to put a wooden slab down and keep constant pressure on it or else you would lose it. So we found out we had to plan what we had to do, how we were going to do it, and then we had to follow through with the plan. This worked until we lost one of the slabs because someone stepped off it. So there was a lot of hugging and closeness. So then on Monday, we woke up and we did high ropes. So we did Jacob's ladder first, which was this one right here. And basically every time you climbed up one of the poles, the gap got much further apart, so you had to really help your team up. So we were told down at the bottom when we were on the ground how the different positions and how to help each other up. So you would get down on one knee and let the other person stand on your knee up. This was really effective and worked until one of the people couldn't get up. So you had to climb and tangle the ropes up just so you could get up to the next level, but we eventually made it to the top of it. And then after that we did something called the pizza box, which was a massive tower with a 12-inch wooden box on top of it, and you had to climb up and fit 4 people on the box. This was quite difficult because the group that I was in, we were all quite tall and big, and also I have size 14 feet. So I took up pretty much half of the box. So yeah, but we eventually got up, and that was us when we all got up and holding hands and leaned back.
Did you do the start?
Yeah, in the start.
Yeah.
We tried to do the start, but someone fell off. And then we then did the gorge walk, which was wet. So we managed to go up the stream. It was fine, and you had to constantly make sure that the rock you were going up was safe before you actually went up on it. And once we got to the top of the stream, there was this pool, and it was really deep, but I didn't know it was so deep, so I jumped into it, and it was freezing. So I got a massive shock and drastically swam to the back into the shallow end. And then on the way back down, we got challenged to blindfold one of our team members and lead him back down. So we did this. It was quite successful. So yeah, that was.
We never saw him again.
Yeah. It worked until we got to quite a steep rock where the boy just started walking, and we thought he was just going to walk off until someone stopped him. So, yeah.
Tuesday?
On Tuesday, this was the mountain day, which was great fun because we climbed up. Everyone else went up a different mountain, but we chose to climb up a different mountain. I can't remember what it was called. But once we got the whole way up, John, who was my mentor, was making puns and giving us riddles to try and solve on the way up. And then eventually, when we got to the top, it was an amazing view, and the whole day was just amazing because you could see everything for about 2 or 3 miles. So I enjoyed myself a lot, and there was also a lot of, and we all eventually went down the mountain, just straight down, off piste. No, we just climbed down. On Wednesday, it was a full day of climbing, which I thought would be easy because climbing's not really a challenge, but as soon as you get off, your legs are so sore. They don't work it. But when you were climbing, the gaps and stuff in between the rocks were tiny, so you had to know where to place your feet.
Size 15?
Yes, size 14. Again, very difficult. And our team had to tell you where to put your feet, or else we wouldn't have been able to climb right up to the top. So yeah, and we also had to have someone at the bottom to belay, which is where you pull the harness so the person doesn't fall all the way down, and saves them. So and then eventually at the end we did abseiling, which is just walking down the cliff face and jumping backwards all the way to the bottom. So yeah, that was a very interesting day. On Thursday, we did canoeing, and it was fun because when we were going down the canoe, we get told that there was going to be rapids and stuff. So with rapids, I didn't think they were going to be really fast or anything until we got to one, and me and my friend Nicholas were standing up in our canoe and waiting to go down, and then we had to sit back down eventually. And this day was fun because we had the GoPro and got to film everything that we did. So yeah, it was very interesting. But also later in the day, on Thursday, we get told that we had to go out and find milk tray Cadbury's chocolates and none of us were expecting it. So when we got told this and we had to plan what we were going to do, it was really loud and there was a lot of shouting involved until we eventually elected 3 main leaders to take us all and lead us. So we got told that we had to pack an overnight bag, and that was it. We just got told that we had to do that, and we had to plan where we were going, and we had to tell the drivers exactly where we were going and what coordinates. So that part was fine, and then we got to the location, and we found out that we had to get to a bay. So, and the only way we could get there was by canoe, and the groups got taught different things. My group got taught how to tie 2 canoes together to make it more people be able to fit in it. So eventually everyone was trying to do it, but I just took over. going too slowly. So we eventually got out. I think it was about 10:30 that we eventually left and got to the bay, and then we found that we had to set up shelters as well, and at this point it was pouring with rain. So the group that learned to do the shelters up got them up at about 12 midnight, and we had to be up at 6:30 in the morning. So yeah, there wasn't much sleep that night. And then on Friday we woke up at 6:30 and had to pack everything away and be out by 7 o'clock, and we had to canoe another, it's about 3 kilometres to get a note to find out where we were going, and when we got it we found out we had to sail back a bit just to get to the church, and then when we got to the church we found out it was the wrong church. So we were constantly running around knocking on all the doors trying to get in, and then we found out that it was a different church completely. So when we got in we had breakfast and we were all soaking.
Tired.
And tired, yeah, very tired. But that didn't stop us because we had to find more chocolates. So we get separated again into 3 different teams, and my team went and climbed a mountain to find chocolates. So doing this on a lack of sleep is quite hard, I found. But yeah, it was really fun because it was just such a laugh because everyone was so tired, but it was a real laugh. And when we eventually got to the top of the mountain and found the chocolate, we had to go back down and go a bit further to get the other chocolate that we had to go get. And then we eventually got back and the final task was finished and we completed it. So when we got home that day, I fell asleep as soon as I touched my bed. I don't think I've had a better sleep. So that was the final task. And then there was something called the plunge pool, which I woke up for pretty much every morning. And we get told that it was a volcanic pool, and we thought it would all be, we all thought it would be roasting, and it would be such a nice way to wake up. So I was the second person to jump in. So I'm thinking, right, there's no steam, so it must be a bit colder than it usually is. So the first person jumps in and started screaming. It was absolutely freezing. So when I jumped in, I thought it was just going to be colder. I didn't think it was going to be as cold as it was. So yeah, I got quite a shock. And then on the Saturday, I woke up and I went into the plunge pool and I set the record for jumping in it the most amount of times, which was 18 times. I went in and out of it. So yeah, it was quite a tiresome task. But all in all, the RYLA weekend was absolutely amazing. It was probably one of the best experiences I'll ever have in my life. I met so many good friends and we're all so close now. We help each other with anything. and it was amazing, and I'll never forget it because it was definitely one of the best experiences I've ever had. And I'd just like to thank Rob and the club again for sponsoring me to go. Thanks very much for listening. Does anyone have any questions?
I've got one. What did you do in the evenings?
In the evenings, we were set different tasks. So one of the nights the first night we had to learn stuff about each other that we had been told during the day. Our team didn't win a single task. So yeah, we had a very fun week of losing. So yeah, one night we had to learn the team. Then the next night we had to build and launch a golf ball out of newspaper and sellotape, and our golf ball got stuck in the tube. So we had to tear it apart so we couldn't use it. And then the next night we did sign language, and it was interesting because I thought our team would win because we had a boy who was partially deaf, and another boy whose best friend was deaf, so he was fluent in sign language, and we still lost. So yeah, it wasn't very fun. And then another night we did. It was like a quiz night, and we learned about. It was first aid night, so we had to tie bandages and we had to nurse people in chairs. We still lost. And then the final night we had an award ceremony, and there were loads of categories, like things that you don't want to hear when you're in RYLA. Yeah, and also funniest pictures and most lookalike. I got compared to Donald Trump. So, yeah. Is there any other questions? Yes?
It's not a question for you, it's a question for your mum. Does he normally survive in 6 hours sleep a night?
It depends whether his phone's been taken away from him or not. No.
Just remind me, Sean, how old are you?
I'm 15.
15.
I turned 15 in July.
Oh, that's right, yes, because yes, I had to negotiate.
Yeah.
Sean, thank you very much indeed. There will be a vote of thanks by our members later on. The person I forgot to mention, of course, was your mentor, John. He's sitting here, and he was a member, Rotaract, and went through all these experiences with you. Keep an eye on you, I believe. Is that right?
Try to keep an eye on it.
Try to keep an eye.
There's a difficult
I
challenge.
should have mentioned that in the first time. But thanks again, Sean. That was a really good, full description of RYLA week, and thank you so much. If you'd like to come and sit down again, I'll ask Courtney if she would like to do her presentation.
Well, could I ask the two RYLA competitors and their two mentors and yourself, Colin, to come up here and we'll present them with their certificates.
You've done remarkably well, and I think the credit to the whole system. You really are just as a first-class example. Very, very young lady. Thank you very much for taking part, and thank you for coming back. It's good to it's a beautiful pleasure to award a certificate on behalf of the Rotary Club of Eastwood.
Thank you.
Sean, really come over with confidence, and obviously you got quite a lot out. You got a lot out of this,
Yeah.
and you certainly presented a good presentation back to the club. And I thank you for taking part and for coming back and speaking to us. And it gives me an equally great pleasure to award you this certificate here. Very courageous young people.
It gives me great pleasure to present you with this as well, because we worked well as a team, didn't we? The two of us for a while, and you worked really well in the team, and you worked well all the way through all the different things you done, the tasks at night and during the day and whatever. Very well done.
I'm not one for the big speeches at this point here either. I was a bit emotional here. But Sean first came up. Introduction is the best I've ever heard. Can't repeat it alone for the company, so apologies for that. But it's been a pleasure being your mentor in the camp. And that's for you as well.